Commander Veska Vilmora had a reputation across the Kyrathi Empire: cold, distant, and utterly untouchable. She'd rejected 17 formal courtship proposals from high-ranking warriors and nobles over the past decade, earning her the unofficial title of the Ice Commander. Her service record was impeccable: 15 years of distinguished military leadership, multiple commendations for valor and strategic brilliance that had saved countless lives. She was respected, feared, and profoundly alone. Most attributed her rejection of all suitors to impossible standards or arrogance. The truth was simpler and more painful. She'd been betrayed by someone she'd trusted completely 8 years ago, and she'd built walls high enough that no one could reach her again. When human military advisor Captain James Reeves arrived at the Kyrathi Command Center as part of coalition integration efforts, Veska expected nothing from him. Humans were physically smaller than Kyrathi, their military traditions different, their social customs foreign. He had no status in her culture, no power to impress her with, no reason for her to pay him any particular attention. Then their eyes met during the initial briefing and something unexpected happened. He didn't look away first, not with challenge or aggression but with calm acknowledgement. He didn't try to impress her or demonstrate his worth. He simply saw her, not Commander Veska with her fearsome reputation, but a person standing across a tactical display. And Veska felt something she hadn't felt in 8 years: recognition. The sense that someone was actually looking at her rather than at her rank or reputation or the walls she'd built. Over the following days, as James worked with the Kyrathi Military Command on joint operational planning, Veska observed him carefully. He treated her with professional respect, but without the excessive deference or fearful distance most showed. When she made tactical suggestions, he evaluated them on merit rather than accepting them automatically because of her rank. When he disagreed, he said so directly but without hostility. "I think that approach leaves the civilian evacuation routes too exposed," James said during one planning session, gesturing to her proposed troop movements. "If we adjust here and here, we maintain your tactical advantages while better protecting the noncombatants." Other officers in the room tensed, clearly expecting Veska to react to having her plan questioned by a human with no formal authority in their command structure. Instead, Veska studied James's suggested adjustments carefully. "You prioritize civilian safety over tactical efficiency." "When possible, yes," James confirmed. "Winning battles while losing the people you're supposed to protect is hollow victory." Veska felt something shift in her assessment of this human. "Your adjustment is tactically sound and morally superior. We'll implement it." The other officers looked shocked. Commander Veska never admitted when someone else's plan was better than hers. After the briefing, Veska approached James in the command center's quieter planning area. "You spoke to me as an equal, not with excessive deference, not with challenge to establish dominance, simply as one tactical officer to another. Why?" James looked genuinely confused by the question. "Because that's what you are, a tactical officer whose expertise I respect. I'm not sure what other approach would make sense." "Most treat me with either fear or false respect designed to advance their positions," Veska said. "You appear to be doing neither." "I'm just treating you like a professional colleague," James said. "Is that unusual?" Over the following weeks, Veska found herself seeking James's counsel more frequently, not because she needed his tactical input, though it was consistently valuable, but because he provided something she hadn't experienced in years: honest conversation without agenda. He asked her questions about Kyrathi military philosophy, not to flatter her expertise, but because he was genuinely curious. He disagreed with her assessments when he thought she was wrong, but without personal attack. He treated her victories and mistakes as equally worth analyzing rather than either praising or criticizing excessively. And gradually, Veska realized the walls she'd built were developing cracks. During one late-night planning session, James asked something that went beyond tactical matters. "Can I ask you something personal? You don't have to answer." Veska tensed but nodded. "Everyone here seems intimidated by you. They treat you with this performative respect that doesn't feel genuine. Why do you tolerate that rather than building actual working relationships with your officers?" Veska was quiet for a long moment. Then, surprising herself, she answered honestly, "Because genuine relationships require vulnerability, and vulnerability leads to betrayal. I learned that lesson thoroughly 8 years ago." "Someone you trusted betrayed you," James said. "Not a question but careful observation." "Someone I trusted used information I shared in confidence to advance their own position and destroy mine," Veska confirmed. "I rebuilt my career through competence and distance. If no one knows me personally, no one can use that knowledge against me." James considered this. That's effective self-protection. It's also incredibly lonely. Veska felt something crack in her chest, the accuracy of his observation cutting through her carefully maintained defenses. "Yes, it is lonely. For what it's worth," James said, "I think your walls are justified given your experience. But I also think you deserve better than spending your entire life isolated, because one person proved unworthy of your trust." Word spread through the Kyrathi command center that Commander Veska, the ice commander who'd rejected 17 suitors and maintained absolute emotional distance from everyone, was actually having personal conversations with the human advisor. Some viewed it as scandalous. Some saw it as weakness. But most were simply shocked that anyone had managed to reach past Veska's legendary walls. During a formal military reception, one of the nobles who'd previously attempted to court Veska approached James with barely concealed hostility. "You should understand, human, that Commander Veska is not someone who can be pursued casually. Many warriors of far greater standing than you have attempted to win her regard and been rejected." "I'm not pursuing her," James said mildly. "I'm working with her professionally and having conversations like normal colleagues do. If that's unusual for her, maybe that says more about how others have treated her than about my intentions." The noble looked affronted. "You speak as if you understand her better than those of us who have known her for years." "I don't claim to understand her," James interrupted. "But I do treat her like a person, rather than a prize to be won or a reputation to be navigated around. Maybe that's the actual difference." Veska, who'd overheard this exchange, approached after the noble departed. "You defended me without being asked, and your defense was accurate. Most do treat me as either prize or obstacle rather than person." "Because that's easier than actually getting to know you," James said. "Prizes and obstacles don't require genuine connection. People do." Veska looked at him directly, the same way she had during their first meeting, but now carrying weight of the conversations they'd had and the walls that had developed cracks through his persistent, gentle honesty. "I have rejected 17 formal courtship proposals," Veska said. "From warriors, nobles, officers of high standing. All of them approached me as if I were something to be won or a challenge to be conquered." She paused. "You have made no such proposal. You have simply been honest, treated me as colleague in person, spoken to me without agenda. That character is worth more than all the elaborate courtship displays I've rejected." "I'm not sure what you're saying," James admitted. "I am saying that the cold alien woman who rejected everyone is considering that perhaps the one person she never expected, a human with no formal standing in our culture, might be the only one actually worth considering." She met his eyes. "Because you see me. Not Commander Veska with her fearsome reputation and her walls, just me. And that recognition is worth more than any formal courtship proposal from someone who only sees what they hope to gain." Over the following months, as Veska and James built something that resembled genuine partnership, both professional and increasingly personal, the Kyrathi Command Center had to adjust to the reality that their ice commander was actually capable of warmth when someone proved worthy of it. During a private conversation, Veska explained what had changed. For 8 years, I maintained walls designed to prevent anyone from reaching me. You reached me anyway, not by trying to break through the walls, but by simply being someone worth letting in. Someone who treated me with honest respect rather than calculated flattery. Someone who saw me as a person rather than a symbol. I just treated you like I'd want to be treated, James said, with honesty and respect. That simple character, Veska responded, is what finally cracked walls I thought were permanent. Because you demonstrated that genuine connection is possible without vulnerability leading to betrayal, that some people actually deserve trust. Some walls are broken through force or